Hey everybody, how's it going? It's the Johnny Cage here, and a couple days ago I did a NES collection video, and I enjoyed doing it so much I thought I'd show you guys my Super Nintendo games. So it's not as big of a collection, but it's pretty fun, and all these I had originally growing up. So let's take a look at what I got. Donkey Kong Country, which I am doing an LP of right now. Check it out. A few more parts of that left before I'm finished with that one. Very fun game. Awesome stuff. 1994 by Rare Nintendo. Of course, we have the sequel, Donkey Kong Country 2. Probably do an LP of that somewhere down the line, but probably not for a couple months, maybe a month. I don't know. Soldiers of Fortune. I just think there's not one, two. There you go. Not a game that many people know. It's not that great of a game, all very difficult, but two-player overhead action. Password system, kind of have classes in it, kind of a class system on your guide, different on who we are. Buster Bust Loose, Tiny Toon Adventures Buster Loose, very easy game, all in all, but very fun. I especially love the football stage, where you do like a little football game. It's, I don't know, it's very simple, but it's really fun. Very much enjoyable. I was huge into fighters during the 16-bit era, and I've got Primal Rage. Terrible fighting game. The moves are so different to do compared to anything else like Mortal Kombat or Street Fighter. Very different. Not a very enjoyable game, but you have the guy Chaos who can fart and barf at people, which is fun. Along the same lines of fighting games, we got Fatal Fury Special. This is my introduction to SNK. Pretty fun game. Not as good as the Street Fighter series, at least not for the Super Nintendo, but enjoyable fighter nonetheless. Next up, Captain America and the Avengers. Now this is a difficult game. Does not want to adjust. There we go. Jeez, that's going to be a problem. I enjoy the Genesis port actually quite a bit more. But it's still a pretty fun game. Very, very difficult though. Let's see. Next up, one of my favorite sports games of all time, NBA Jam. Really fun game. I've had so many tournaments, so many nights of having some beers, playing games with friends of this. It all ultimately comes down to whoever can make the most three-pointers. You always have to have the one guy on your team that's a good three-point shooter. That pretty much decides games, but it's fun to break the glass in the fourth quarter as well. You can't get any more classic than Street Fighter. Street Fighter 2. This was the reason I bought the Super Nintendo. I saw Dhalsim and his crazy extendable limbs, and I'm just like, Dad, I need this. I was like 7, 8 years old at the time. Need to get this system. Need to get this game. I'm still a huge fan of Street Fighter today. I love it. It's the one fighting game that has never really changed, and I loved it. Had to get Super Street Fighter 2 when that came out. I never got Street Fighter 2 Turbo. But this was a great game too. It introduced DJ, Fei Long, Cammy, and T-Hawk. Really fun. And it has a tournament set up in it, which I really love. Setting up a tournament and having fun with it that way. Million Seller, Super Mario Kart. Lots of fun. Hasn't aged as well. I would still say my favorite Mario Kart has got to be the N64 one, but this is one that started it all, and it was a great game at the time. Still pretty enjoyable. My only non-gray kart, Killer Instinct, one of the black carts. I don't know how many other games. The only other black cart I can think of off the top of my head is Super Noah's Ark 3D, which is ridiculous. But this is one of those fighters I didn't quite enjoy as much. It's all about like the combo system, very much like Tekken. I just never get into it. Just not my kind of fighting game. Here's one fun thing I have. Game Enhancer, the Game Genie. Oh man, before there was Game Shark and all this stuff, you had to have the Game Genie. I didn't have it for the NES, but had to have it for the Super Nintendo, even though there's only one game I had that I had codes for it too, that came in the booklet of codes that you got, and that was Zombies Ate My Neighbors. And this game has become such a cult classic. I didn't really enjoy it much as a kid growing up, but it's a game I always run into people, and they're always so surprised that I own the game and want to play it. But I'm like, what? Seriously? It's a very, very difficult game. There's 40 some odd levels in it. It gets very hard, but very fun. Can't complain too much. During the 90s, mid-90s, late 90s, I was a huge fan of professional wrestling, particularly the WWF. And this is an LJN game too, which is just hilarious. But this is a really great wrestling game for the Super Nintendo. WWF Royal Rumble. I love the fact you could go out into the outside and grab a chair and bash a guy over the head with it. That was so much fun at the time. Let's see. Super Pinball. I'm not quite sure why I have Super Pinball. Is it Behind the Mask, Super Pinball? Not quite sure why I have it, but I think my dad got this. He was big into pinball, so probably picked it up for that reason. Not a very fun game, though. I prefer just to play a regular pinball machine. Next up, one of my favorite sports games of all time. This, Power Blade, and NBA Jam definitely are in the top 3 for sure. Tecmo Super Bowl, if it wants to focus at all. Focus. Focus. There we are. Tecmo Super Bowl. Very awesome football game. A lot of people remember the NES version better, but this one is near and dear to my heart. Lots of fun. I can play season after season of that. As the 49ers. Steve Young, Jerry Rice. Oh yeah, classic combo. The original Mortal Kombat. What was it? Mortal Monday. When it came out in September of 1993. Oh my god, huge day. I remember my dad very well, pulling me and my brother out of school so we could go get this game when it came out new and play the hell out of it. That was one of my favorite video game memories right there for sure. And I had Mortal Kombat 3 at one point, and then I think somewhere along the line I left it over at a friend's house. So I don't have it anymore, but I did get Ultimate Mortal Kombat 3 when it came out. But when it came to Mortal Kombat 3, it was starting to get more into a combo system. Kind of took me out of it, the Mortal Kombat enjoyment a lot, but I really like the new one that they just came out with for the PS3 and 360. That is totally old school, totally takes me back to the day. Nickelodeon Guts. Oh my god. Just recently on if you go to Continue, look up Continue, a relatively new show on the internet. These guys just played this. They decided whether a game should be continued or game over. They gamed over this. It's not a whole lot like the TV show, but it's a fun game to play just for the heck of it. Just throw it in, have some laughs, especially if you remember the old Nickelodeon show. Aladdin. I just did an LP of this. Check it out if you have not. Pretty good run. It's the only game to this day I have beaten the same day that I got the game. I probably could have beaten others, but this one, I don't know, I just ran through it for some reason. Let's see, Super Mario RPG. A pretty rare game for the Super Nintendo now. It goes for about $45 online. I got this actually later on after it came out. I probably got this like around 2000, 2001. But check it out. I mean, if you haven't played it, check it out. I've gotten 2 requests to do an LP of this. I'm not sure if I will or not. I'm still on the fence because a lot of people have played it. A lot of people can do a better job than I can. I'm very much willing to admit that, although I have beaten it a couple times. Huge into the FX chip when that came out. I thought it was the coolest thing. Stunt Race FX. Not as great of a game as Mario Kart is in my opinion, but still pretty fun. Pretty enjoyable. Along the same lines, you've got to have Star Fox. Everyone had this game growing up, I think. I mean, you can get relatively cheap nowadays. Still haven't beaten it, actually. I've got to sit down and actually beat it one of these days. I've beaten the N64 version to death a number of times, but maybe one day I'll get around to this one. Maybe I'll do an LP of it. Who knows? And finally, last but not least, Lufia 2, Rise of the Sinistrals. This I found out is a very rare game. I found it on a list of games along the same lines as Earthbound and Chrono Trigger for the Super Nintendo. And this is kind of not only my collection, but a reveal that very soon, once I'm done with the Donkey Kong LP, this is what I'm playing next. I've talked about there's one RPG for the Super Nintendo that I want to do, and this is it. And I'm going to try to get through it. If you've never seen it before or never played it, it's really fun. It is a sequel, but it's actually it's actually a prequel actually to the original one, Lufia 2. If you play Lufia 1, that game starts up where this game ends. So it's pretty cool. But anyway, that is my Super Nintendo collection. Thanks a lot, guys. If you guys have collections of your own, feel free to post a video response. I'd love to see them. It's so much fun to look through old video games with people and reminisce about the memories that they bring up. So anyhow, keep watching my LPs, guys. I really appreciate all my subscribers, all the people that watch. This has been the Johnny Cage. I'll talk to you guys later on.